Hi everybody, it's Johansen back here again for another edition of Email Profits, and this video is going to be on how not to be a spammer. And what I want to do is keep you legal and get you to obey the rules and save you some time, money and some pain. One of the things that we need to do before we get into the sort of whether you can be a spammer or not is understand really what are the laws governing it. And in Australia, it's governed by the Spam Act of 2003. In America, it's governed by the Can Spam Act. And they're pretty similar, but I'm in Australia, so I'm going to take you through the Australian laws, and I'm sure if you obey these, you're going to be fine. One of the things is that what is spam, let's have a look at it. And in particular, what does the Spam Act cover? What it covers is the sending of messages via electronic means. It can be by email, it can be by SMS, it can be by MMS, and it can also be instant messages. So it's sending of electronic messages by these means. What it doesn't cover is the normal type marketing that you may be doing. There could be some letter drops you send out, send some flyers or pamphlets. You could be doing some telemarketing calls, doing some internet pop-ups. All of these aren't covered by the Spam Act. Neither are non-commercial messages that you may wish to send your clients. And that means if you're sending them information and there's no links there, then you'll be fine. That's not spamming either. The jurisdictions to look at, it doesn't matter if you're in Australia and you're sending out or you're in Australia and receiving in. The Spam Act of 2003 covers all of those areas. And it's very similar to the United States as well. Now, to be caught, the penalties are pretty stiff, $220,000 per day up to $1.1 million, and certainly other court action. And the other court action is ones that I would certainly be trying to avoid because, especially if you've got a company and you're under the Corporations Act, the last thing you want to do is have the Australian Security Investment Commission on your hammer. Okay, so what's the purpose of the Act? And it's one of the things that's been occurring over the last 10 years, certainly decreased greatly in recent times. There's a lot of commercial messages just going out there which were unsolicited, and you would know, you would have received a lot of those in your inbox yourself. We want to preserve, or the government want to preserve legitimate marketing to businesses and encourage responsible usage, and all those make sense. There are three critical points to remember to stay legal, and this is what the Spam Act actually covers. And it talks about, one, get consent from people, two, identify yourself, and three, make sure you have an easy unsubscribe system. So what we talk about here, let's have a look first up at consent. You can have either express consent or inferred consent. And what we mean by that is that somebody may say, yes, and openly give me your send me your messages, I'll give you my email address, and that's what we mean by the means of express consent. Inferred consent often occurs between business to business. An example I can give you there is that I'm an email marketer, so it's inferred that if I contact another business, they may be in the same game or they might like to know how to use email marketing. That's what it's really about. So there must be an inferred sort of connection between the businesses. Give you some examples. First up of express. Let's have a look. You might have a subscriber to a list. Most of you will be used to that, getting it on your website or an opt-in page. They might have ticked a box somewhere to say, send me some information. They might have even phoned you and saying, I'm happy to receive that information. Inferred consent, previous client, and you've got their electronic address. They might have purchased some goods or services and provided an electronic address meaningfully and gleefully. That's not that you've elicited out of them, because you just wanted it, but it was all part of the process. And online registration of product information. Other means of inferred consent could be conspicuously published email addresses, and I do have a register here for my local government area, and where they put out a book where people put their email addresses in them, so I can legitimately contact those businesses about email marketing because it would be inferred that the businesses would wish to market or maybe find out about my services. Someone might have given you a business card, you'd be used to that sort of scenario. And as long as you contact them with information that pertains to their business, that's the main thing. Okay, let's have a look at some examples that go in a wider range, because there could be some shareholders, magazine or newspaper subscribers, online services, information and advisory services, financial members of clubs, sporting clubs, social clubs, contractors, and any professional association members, you certainly have the right to contact them as well and offer them some sort of commercial message, and that's within the Act, the Spam Act of 2003. Just be careful though, one-off purchases where people just might have wanted a movie ticket or buy something on your retail store or a restaurant, and you're making them supply the email address to send it back to them. That may not be inferred, so you probably want to have some sort of box there to say, are you happy to receive our messages as well? The second part of, to make sure that you stay legal is what we call identify. And this is where you must identify yourself when you send out a message, and I'm particularly big on that in the emails. Those who've been through my other videos will know it's about identifying yourself. Put in your company name. The Can Spam Act talks about this in America big time, and also your contact details. You need to have an address there so people know who you are. So when you do identify, if you're going to send things out electronically, make sure that you cover a few things. You need to cover everything to do with quotes and letters. You need to look at the invoices that you send out. You've got to identify yourself and put your address there. You just can't send things out without that. So there's some information there for sending information via electronic means. Okay, let's look at unsubscribe, and what this means is that you've got to have a clear and easy to use unsubscribe button. It doesn't have to be electronic, although I subscribe to that myself, and we do that for people, but you must remove people within 5 working days that their request has come through as well. If you have an automatic system, that will do it automatically for you, but a lot of people still would they don't trust them. That's what it means, is that they want to just send an email back and say, get me off the list, or you've got 5 days, but do it as quick as you can. I certainly talk about turning around within 24 hours. Let's go back over the 3 critical points about the spam rules that you need to understand. One of them is consent. That's when we talked about express and inferred. The other one was about identify, and that really is about having your name and your company address. And the third one is to have an easy unsubscribe button. So if you say and use those 3 points there, then you're going to be fine.